Live, Laugh, Larceny discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or could be easy listening to all you psychopaths out there.
All stories are based on actual events, but details may vary.
Listener discretion is not advised.
Live,
Laugh.
Larceny. Welcome to Live, Laugh, Larceny, wearing your partner's underwear to spice up your workday. This is Trevin.
I'm Amanda. Oh my God. Do you wear Emily's underwear?
Only when I need a good night's sleep.
I actually do wear Jordan's underwear quite often.
Yeah, you were actually the inspiration of my thing, because I think you had brought it up in one of our either stories or it was when we were discussing a crime. I can't remember why.
Oh, okay. I'm inspiring, I guess. So, Trevin.
Yes.
What is your dreadful dilemma this week?
Once again, I still have so many to choose from, but it's a question that I've thought about for many, many years, and I just realized that I've been answering it incorrectly my whole life.
What is it?
Okay, so many years ago, when you and I were working together, I wanted so desperately to get out of that job.
Right.
And I applied for a very well-known greeting card company.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that the interview had gone well, or so I thought. It's a big company, so I think it was like a 3.5 hour interview.
Oh my God.
I met like 6 different people, and one of the guys played guitar, and they asked me about like recording music, and I told them about how I make music and doing stuff, and I thought we really hit it off. But there's one question they asked me in that interview that in hindsight, I felt like it didn't go right.
Okay. Do tell.
They asked me this. If you're given 2 tasks to work on, and one is harder and one is easier, which one do you choose to do first? And so I was like, okay, I want to show them that I'm a thorough guy. So I said, which one is due first? And they said, they're both due the same day. And I said, okay, well, which one's more important? And it's like, oh, they're both the same importance. So then I sat there and I said, well, I would do the easier one first. So that way that at least something gets done just in case I can't get the second one done. Because it's in case it's something that's just like out of my control.
Yeah. Oh, no, he didn't like that answer, did he?
His response was like,
So is this the same guy that you were like chumming it up with over the guitar?
I believe it was the same guy.
And then he just turned it into this weird interrogation. And because you didn't answer this one question how he wanted it, he was like, bye.
Well, everything finished. And then, of course, I had to call them like 2 weeks later. And they're like, oh, you're not what we wanted. And I thought, wow, I really thought we connected. So I'll get drunk and sad about that job opportunity. And I'll talk to people at parties and I'll be like, hey, so this happened. And then I'll just tell the whole story again and say, was my answer so wrong? And people are like, I guess not. Doesn't sound too bad. But then a couple weeks ago, while I was editing all of these shows, and I've been very busy, and it hit me. I literally was in this real world situation. I had one show to edit that I had never edited before, that I knew would be difficult. And I had another one that was going to be pretty easy, and they were both due at the same time. Both seemingly of the same importance.
So what did you do, Trevin?
Well, it finally hit me. I was like, I'm probably going to have to work on this at odd times to try to get this all done. I should go with the harder one first because I've got help available to me where I can ask questions to people to get that done so I can be more prepared and get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that's done, I know I can cram the thing that I know well last minute.
That's how I would have answered. When you first asked me the question, I was like, I'd probably do the harder one first.
And that was not what I was going with. And I've been thinking this over for like 9 years.
So has your life forever changed?
Well, I feel like I've been living a lie.
I'm so sorry.
It's just so weird because usually there's things where I kind of get it wrong or maybe I'm not seeing it right. I can just kind of open my mind to it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, in the moment I can see, I wasn't thinking correctly, but I see that I was wrong. But for this thing, I'm talking years and years and years. I'd replay it in my head, re-explain the situation to somebody, just hoping that something would click in my mind.
Yeah.
I was thinking this whole time, it's a no-brainer. It's always this one. And then it finally hit me and I was like, whoa. it took me this long to really see the error of my ways.
But you know what, though, Trevin? Some people will never see that, ever.
It's true.
So I think you're doing just fine. Actually, it seems as though lately a lot of people don't ever see the error of their ways. So I think you're doing just great.
Thank you. I'm trying real hard out here, guys.
Well, that's dreadful. And another thing that is dreadful is my voice. Sorry, guys. It's been a minute since I got sick. So I think I deserve a trophy at this point.
Yeah. When things like this come up, I like to quote my favorite 1-star review and say, Amanda's sick again.
That was perfect. Yes, but that is not my dreadful dilemma this week. I actually have another one, believe it or not.
Bring it.
So, Trevin, you're a big movie guy. So, you know how in rom-coms, they have those scenes about halfway through the movie where the main character, they're at rock bottom, like, how can this get any worse? And it's kind of like everything's moving slow and there's like a montage of them walking in the rain and there's like sad music playing overhead.
Now, is this before they meet the person they eventually fall in love with, or is this after they've been in love for a little bit and then they had kind of a falling out before
That one.
Okay.
The second one.
So right before the big climactic like reunion.
Yes.
Okay.
That.
No, I know nothing about these movies.
Yeah, no. What are you talking about? But no, you nailed it. That's the exact moment I'm talking about. I feel like I lived that the other day.
Oh.
And it was very fucking dreadful. It's nothing like I thought it would have been like. So, Jordan and I are fine. I'm still married. It has nothing to do with the rom-com part of it. But the other day, it was a long day. I'm obviously sick this week. I'm like on the struggle bus already. I decided to order myself some groceries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turns out that I had stayed a night with my mom recently because her husband, my dad, was out of town, and my husband, Jordan, was out of town. So we just had like a girls' sleepover one night. And I ordered some things that get delivered to her house, like some diapers and formula and stuff. I forgot to update the address. All my groceries got delivered to my parents' house instead of mine.
Oh.
So not only is that obviously just dreadful all on its own, but I'm by myself, sick, with both of my daughters, 2 little ones. And I'm like, oh my God. So I have to get the girls in the car. And then immediately when I get in the car, it just starts downpouring. Like I'm talking hailstorm, flooding type of rain, like a big old storm. It was
Thursday?
Yeah. It was like tornado weather is kind of like what I call it. I finally get to my parents' house. All my groceries are just soaked and I'm having to like load them all up. And the whole time this is happening, I'm just feeling so bad for myself. And like in my head, I'm hearing the song, Everybody Hurts. And like this is happening. Yes. So that actually happened to me the other day, and I felt like I was in a movie, but it wasn't funny.
Yeah. You were like Winnie the Pooh with the little black rain cloud just following you around everywhere.
Yes. I was like, how can this get any worse? But once I got home and the groceries were in the fridge, which that's a whole nother thing, that all the bags were soaked from rainwater.
Was everything okay? Did you have to throw some stuff out?
Oh, no, everything was fine. I got over there pretty quick. Luckily, my parents only live about 15 minutes away from me. Mm-hmm. So that's a relief. But yeah, afterwards it was kind of funny. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, it's funny how the world likes to throw little extra things at you like that. So,
Trevin, today are we going to do some trivia?
Let's play a round of trivia.
All right. Whoa. Trevin, we do not have the rights to say that.
Let's have a fun time.
So, Trevin, my trivia question this week. Where did the term flying saucer get its name from?
Ooh, I have no idea, so that's fun.
Okay. I was kind of gauging your reaction to see, does he know this? Has he heard about this? Okay, great. Here are your options. A, an up-and-coming rock band. B, a misquote in the press from a pilot. Or C, a fake photo released in the newspapers.
I will go with C.
Ah, dang it, Trevin, it's B.
Well, shit.
I know, I was trying to kind of trick you out with C, but dang. Okay, so This is a really interesting story, and I did a lot of research on this. And you guys, if you want more information, I mean, there was just tons and tons and tons, and I'm not doing a killer fact today, okay? I'm doing trivia. But I did want to give a little bit of a backstory here.
Oh, yeah, elaborate, for sure.
So, on June 24th in 1947, there was a pilot, and his name was Kenneth Arnold. Apparently, he was flying near the Mount Rainier area, and he saw 9 large metallic flying objects. They were going at abnormally fast speeds, and after reporting them, the press quoted him incorrectly in how he described them. He did a different interview after he was misquoted, and then this is the new interview that he did after it was misquoted, and this is how he explained it. He said, "These objects more or less fluttered like they were, I'd say boats on very rough water or very rough air of some type. And when I described how they flew, I said they flew like they take a saucer and throw it across the water. Most of the newspapers misunderstood and misquoted that too. They said that I had said that they were saucer-like. I said they flew in a saucer-like fashion."
Oh.
So basically, he wasn't saying that they looked like a flying saucer. He was describing the way that they moved.
And because of that one misunderstanding, it just kind of built the lore.
I know. I did a bunch of deep dives after this, and I wanted to get, okay, then what exactly did it look like to you? Which he kind of explained it, but not really. Like, it was a circular shape that I saw in his drawings and stuff. But I don't know if it was a saucer per se. But anyway, after that whole thing came out, there were so many flying saucer accounts after that. And that's just how it was portrayed. So I just found that to be so weird.
Yeah, it's really weird how it was making me think of the guy who did like the first, 5-minute mile or whatever. Everybody said, "Oh, it couldn't be done. You can't do it."
Right.
And then the second he did it, people were like, "Oh, it's possible." Then everybody started doing it.
Yeah.
And I know that people use that a lot, trying to be inspirational and stuff. Like, people don't achieve the impossible until somebody shows them it's possible.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's kind of the same thing in that sense too. It's just like, it kind of plants the idea in people's heads, so now it can just continuously keep happening. Of course, this is different than the ability to run a mile in 5 minutes, but you know what I mean.
Totally. Maybe the picture that was put out there made people look for specific things in the nighttime sky. And I don't know exactly how it affected it and it impacted it, but it definitely did. And it became single-handedly the most common image we think of. I know I do. When I think of, there was a UFO or flying saucer, I just associate that all the time.
Yeah. And then TV and stuff, it almost kind of forced us to see those images subconsciously and make us kind of see them.
Yeah. I was telling you earlier, I wish I would have done this on the episode I did with the guy who said he was abducted by aliens. That would have been perfect. But I found this recently and I was like, oh my God, I have got to talk about this.
Yeah, that's really super interesting. I had no idea it was started by a misunderstanding
right.
like that. That's super cool. So I've got a trivia for you. We're going to go back to presidents.
Okay.
I have plenty of fun facts to do, but I was having a hard time turning those into a trivia. So I thought, we'll go with this one, and then we'll come back with those facts maybe in Two Truths and a Lie and stuff later.
Okay.
So my question is about Honest Abe Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
So what was Abraham Lincoln before he became president? Now, this is just one of his professions before. Is it A, a professional wrestler, B, Benjamin Franklin's lawyer, or C, a stable boy for the Kentucky Derby?
So I have no idea whatsoever. I'm going to go with C.
A stable boy for the Kentucky Derby is incorrect.
Dang it.
He was, in fact, a professional wrestler.
Oh my God. No.
As a young man, he was very athletic. He was a tall dude. I think he was like 6'2". He competed in wrestling matches for more than a decade of his youth, and he rarely lost. In another website, I found that he fought in nearly 300 matches and lost only one. Those numbers may not be super accurate, but then an interesting fact about all of this is his abilities were formally recognized by the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, which inducted him as an outstanding American in 1992. So he is actually in the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
1992?
Yeah. Hey,
Why so long?
I think maybe somebody in the wrestling world just like, this is a fun fact. Let's induct him in a ceremony.
Okay.
Technically, he wasn't that kind of wrestling. He was more like street wrestling or something, because we're talking 1800s or whatever. But
so are you telling me that Abraham Lincoln was ripped?
I think he was ripped.
Oh my God.
'Cause this was in his youth. It wasn't literally right before he was president.
He didn't have the full beard and top hat as he wrestled people down?
He may not have. But wouldn't that have been a cool look for his stage name and everything?
Oh God, yeah. The top hat had to be part of it. I'm shocked. That was the one that I was like, okay, you're just like messing with us all.
Mm-hmm.
Holy hell, Abe. Little did I know.
Man, ripped Abe. I like the thought of that.
I know. I'm picturing just a muscled out Abraham Lincoln. I'm like, that's pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. Well, Trevin, who knows what's about to happen, but we may have an ad.
We just may. If not, enjoy this sound drop twice. It's time for Amanda's favorite newest sponsor, Pretty Litter.
When my cat's healthy, he's happy, and that makes me happy. But since I'm not a mind reader, I don't always know when he is unwell. Helping me keep tabs on my cat's health is just one reason I use Pretty Litter.
Pretty Litter's ultra-absorbent crystals trap odor instantly. No more cat bathroom smell.
I've used Pretty Litter for a while now, and yes, the smell is pretty much non-existent. Also, when I was pregnant, they actually say it's safe for pregnant women to scoop the litter as well, which I thought was really, really helpful.
Pretty Litter's super light crystal base also minimizes mess and dust. Plus, the crystals last up to a month, which means less scooping and more pooping.
Here's the coolest thing about Pretty Litter. It changes colors to help monitor early signs of potential illnesses in my cat, including urinary tract infections and kidney issues.
And I talked about it last time, but that is so helpful to have that health monitor. I've got Freddie, the weirdo, was born and raised on the farm. I don't know where his parents came from, what they're bringing with them. So it's good to keep an eye on and make sure that Freddie's not having any problems.
And Pretty Litter ships free right to my door in a small, lightweight bag. I never run out of it, and I don't have a huge container of litter taking up space and stinking up my place.
Pretty Litter helps keep tabs on my cat's health and keeps odors down. You and your cat are going to love Pretty Litter as much as we do. Go to prettylitter.com/livelaugh to save 20% on your first order.
That's prettylitter.com/livelaugh to save 20%. prettylitter.com/livelaugh. Terms and conditions apply. See site for details. Bye.
See ya.
And we are back. So, Trevin, I'm going first this week with my story.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a story from the news. It is another one that I found myself relating to a lot. Like a lot. And once I tell you all, I think it'll make more sense. So
It's about being sick.
Yeah, this petty criminal is just really sick. It's raining, it's pouring. Everybody Hurts is playing on the radio. Yeah, There's a lot of similarities. So listen up and here we go. In the world of motherhood, there are many qualities that can make up a good mom. It's ideal to be loving, patient, and willing to clean up other people's messes without any thanks whatsoever.
Thanks for dinner, Mom. Now clean that shit up.
But in my opinion, I think one of the most important traits to have is craftiness. Sure, being crafty helps create impressive school projects and one-of-a-kind gifts. A voodoo doll? You shouldn't have. But it can also be used to problem solve. You can craft up an imaginary world to distract a toddler. Or help craft the perfect revenge text to send to your heartbroken teen's ex.
Everyone knows you're going bald?
And if you want to get real wild, You can even craft up an entire fake sport for your child to play to get them into an Ivy League college. Now it says here you're a semi-professional toad yodeler. Impressive. The point is that crafting can make motherhood more fun and easy. But as the mom in this petty crime story found out, crafts can't solve every problem. Amanda was a single mom in her late 20s, living just outside Buffalo, New York in 2016. She had 2 young sons that she would do anything for. This went well beyond the minimum of mothering. Amanda wanted to create a magical childhood for her boys. She painted a large jungle mural in their playroom, hand-sewed costumes from scraps, and documented every embarrassing moment of her kids on camera. Amanda was thoughtful, fun, and, well, crafty, all while on a budget. Recently, she had fallen on some hard times financially, and potentially legally. Last fall, Amanda's car insurance had lapsed, causing her to lose the license plates to her car. To top it off, when she tried to re-register her car, she was told that she couldn't. This was due to an $120 pending parking ticket she had racked up. It was definitely a when it rains it pours situation, and Amanda was just trying to stay afloat. I need a little help out here. Amid all of this, she needed to get to her job at the local hotel, but risked being pulled over for riding dirty without a license plate. Amanda paced around her art supplies closet, thinking of solutions, when she got an idea. She grabbed her scissors and ruler, then popped open a fresh bottle of paint. "It's craft time," Amanda announced to her empty closet. Later that same March afternoon, Deputy Doo-Doo was driving his cruiser down the highway, looking for people's lives to ruin. Unfortunately for him, everyone seemed to be driving on their best behavior. That is until Deputy Doo-Doo heard an odd repetitive tapping sound from the vehicle in front of him. He nearly spewed his coffee everywhere when he realized what was causing the sound. Right before his eyes appeared to be a makeshift license plate flapping in the wind. Well, what do we have here?" Doo-Doo asked mockingly to himself. He flipped on his sirens and pulled over the vehicle in question. As he slowly approached the rear of the car, he got a better look at the license plate. Crafted out of cardboard, the flimsy plate was hand-painted gold, with blue lettering and details. It read New York at the top, FYG 3925 in the middle, and Empire State underneath. He approached the driver's side door to confront the crafty criminal, only to find Amanda, with her head resting on her steering wheel in defeat. On March 3rd, 2016, Amanda Schweikert was charged with a felony count of possessing a forged instrument, a misdemeanor count of operating a vehicle with a suspended registration, and 3 vehicle and traffic offenses. She was later interviewed and quoted, saying, "People read about it in the paper, and they hear about it on the news, but no one understands why I did what I did. My intentions were good. I want people to understand. I didn't do it for kicks. I didn't have the money. I was really trying, really struggling." Although illegal actions were made, I can't help but relate to Amanda. And not just because we share the same first name and the apparent love for crafting. I wrote the end of this story at night and in bed, pausing often to look up at my own 2 sleeping kiddos. It made me think of all the things I would do for them, even if it meant committing a ridiculous petty crime. In closing, life isn't a do-it-yourself project. Find your crew and craft with caution.
A forged instrument?
Oh my God, dude. Okay.
This is a first. a first on that one.
Yes, I know. I was like, okay, I got to make sure I say this correctly because I've never heard that before ever. Before we get into this, can I please show you the license plate in question?
Sure.
And everybody, I know I got a couple listeners a couple weeks back being like, LOL, Amanda sharing, the top 5 when we can't see it unless we go somewhere else to look. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm such a visual person. I know
Amanda's super visual.
a lot of the stuff we talk about on here, I realize it needs a picture to make sense. I know I'm so bad at that. But hey, all you have to do is follow us on social media.
Yeah, we'll
That's
make
it.
a real TikTok, and then also there's a picture post. And on the ones that are very crucial, like that week, I put the URL in the show notes.
There you go. There you go. This is the license plate.
Oh my damn. She didn't even stencil. It's freehand all the way.
And that's why I put freehand in there. I was trying to do a really good job of explaining it, how it's a mainly gold plate with blue lettering and details. But yeah, like even in between the letters, there's a little bird symbol, like the letters and the numbers. There's like a tiny little bird. I assume that's how the plate normally looks. Oh my God, no, I don't think that's supposed to be a bird. I think that's supposed to look like the state of New York. I don't know. I'm going to have to look up the actual license plate.
Yeah, it looks like a hand marker made, like somebody in the crowd at a high school football game would hold.
Yes. It's very arts and crafty.
It's a person freehanding bubble letters.
Yes.
And some letters are bigger than other ones, and they're not going straight across.
Yeah.
I at least would have used a ruler.
Right. I know. So I will say this, though. When I found this story, obviously I saw the picture, I saw the funny news articles written about it, and I was like, this is hysterical. Like, I got to look into this. But as you guys probably noticed, I did kind of take a little more of a serious route at the end of it, just because as a mom myself, after I found the one and only article with a follow-up quote from Amanda herself, that's the only way I even had that quote, was because one person did a follow-up article. These usually don't happen, as we know.
That's the real hero there.
Yes. But after hearing her story and after hearing from her, and she was like, everyone in the media was calling me so stupid and everyone was making fun of me. And I get it, but I was just trying to get to my job and I couldn't afford the ticket. And it's that is a single mom hustling for her kids. So, how far can you really make fun of her? Yes. Should she stenciled? Yes. Rulered? Yes. When you see the picture, is it just really funny off the jump?
It's so amateur.
It's so amateur and so kiddish. And, if you saw it, I'm sure, and obviously Deputy Doo-Doo is made up, but if you saw it in person, I'm sure he was just like, what?
Yeah, this is something that would be in an old Adam Sandler, Billy Madison type movie or something.
Yeah.
This seems like it's written for comedy. There's no way that you thought.
I know.
And lately, I've been noticing on my way to work and stuff, probably at least 2 to 3 times a week, I'm behind somebody who has very expired plates.
Yeah.
Either they're very expired or it's one of those paper ones, they just bought it and it's good for 30 days. And it says expired 10/20 of 2022. I'm like, how have you been rolling on this thing for 6 months and not changed it or gotten pulled over enough? So I'm thinking you would have been better off just putting old, I'm not giving anybody this idea, but you would have been better off just grabbing any old plate and put it on than making that monstrosity of art.
Totally agree. I will say I have been guilty of waiting too long to get my tags up to date. I have done that. But also, I don't really drive that much. Even when I was still at my 8 to 5 job, it was 5 minutes away,
yeah,
really
your job
close.
was very close.
Yeah. So she definitely got some shit for it. But another thing I wanted to say was not only can I relate to her, but I feel like the charges that were given to her were very intense. Let's look at this situation here. And as a society, what are we doing? This mother is clearly struggling. She can't even do her $150 ticket, okay?
Right.
But now you're going to just keep throwing charges at her. And I get it. Nobody should be driving like that. That's silly. That's crazy. It's a lighthearted thing that I had fun telling a story about. But She's just trying to take care of her kids.
Right.
Clearly, as a society, we should rally around people like this and help them.
Yeah.
Yes. Is it funny? And when you guys see the picture, yes. But I also wanted to be like, shit, I would do what I needed to get done for my kids. And if it meant embarrassing myself and making this stupid, crafty little license plate, and I thought, okay, maybe I can just get to work today. I don't know. I have to say, I don't know.
You would have used stencils. I can't drop it. The execution. I totally get whatever it takes. Do what you got to do, but
come on.
Yeah, that's drawing attention to you. You're trying to blend in.
I know. I know. Oh my God.
Well, that's a fun story, and I'm really glad that I did get the visual for it.
Yeah, it's necessary.
You know, I've got a story about love too.
Oh.
I'm going to deal a lot with loving your animals. Because,
Okay.
you know, we've been a very animal-centric show.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, ever since we started, adopted baby Harv and barking Mabel. And just so you all know, we kind of talk about it every once in a while, but we do a fur baby thing where we share your guys' pets on Fridays. So just let this be known that you can always share your pets with us, and we'll share your pets with everybody.
Yeah.
And we love to share any fun quirks that your animal has.
Oh my God, yes.
So I love hearing about the different personalities of other people's pets.
Mm-hmm.
It's much better than if somebody's like, hey, look at a picture of my baby.
Hey!
Oh, you got to know your audience. My bad.
My baby, that does not count.
No, when he doesn't count. So let's just dive into this and we'll talk about it afterwards. And here we go. If you're listening to this episode right now, chances are you like animals. I mean, this isn't an animal podcast, but I would like to think that our demographic is caring people who also love the company of sweet pets. And if I have this all wrong, and there are listeners that don't like animals, then they must really hate the parts where we talk about ours.
Not pet talk again.
Either way, Amanda and I talk a lot about our pets. We are huge lovers of the fur babies. To help celebrate the love of everyone's pets, we do Fur Baby Friday posts on our socials. We believe everyone's pets have their own quirks that make them special, and those little critters deserve to be recognized for how much joy they bring their human.
I'm so happy I'm peeing.
The relationship between a person and their pet is such a strong bond. When I went to Amanda's house for the first time, she would interrupt conversations just to say, "Oh, look what Reptar is doing." And he could be doing something as simple as sitting down. He wasn't even new in Amanda's life. She just loves everything about them and what they do. There's no containing that amount of affection. As a pet owner, there are a lot of different ways we show our love for our pets. Emily and I threw a third birthday party for Mabel, where she got to wear a princess's crown and take photos with a dog food cake. There are people who make social media profiles for their pets and make posts speaking about things that they believe their animal cares about. Or you could be a weird ass like my friend Tyler and share your ice cream cones with your dog, waiting for them to get their fill before deep-throating the rest of the ice cream and remnants of the dog slobber.
So good.
Whatever strange relationship you have with your pet, that's just how you show your love. Other people may not get it, but that's not for them to decide on. I know Emily's family thought we were total weirdos for the dog birthday party. And literally every human on Earth is judging Tyler now that they know he seasons his ice cream cones with dog's butthole flavored spit.
Oh, it makes it even better.
But that's just love. So, can showing that amount of love for a pet go too far? Obviously, you know my answer after the example I just gave. But can it go too far in the eyes of the law? Sure, we can talk shit on people who take jacuzzi baths with their dog,
Was that you?
bring their cat along for expensive cruises, and book wedding venues for their pet rats to get married. But that can't get you arrested. The worst thing that'll do is lose some friends and have your name taken off your mother's will. But what if I told you that I have a story for you today where one person's fur baby love language was enough to make them a petty criminal? Before you speculate too much on the possibility, I'm going to tell you that I do. Today's story does, in fact, follow a man in his love for a pet. But in the criminal justice system, some fur baby love is considered especially felonious. This is his story. The year was 2020, and the world was slowing down. Due to the coronavirus outbreak, stay-at-home restrictions were beginning, and people were finding more things to do at home. It was the beginning of what would be a very isolating time in the world. For some, this was an incredibly inconvenient point, as seeing friends and family was put on hold. But for our main character, Richard, life had just begun as the world stopped. Richard was a 51-year-old man living in Lakewood, Washington. As a self-proclaimed introvert, there wasn't much he needed besides deep isolation and his dog Rosie. He hated getting up and going to his 9-to-5 job, having to see family on their birthdays, and even talking to ticket takers at the movie theater.
Enjoy your movie.
You too? Shit.
There was a bit of unknown with every social interaction that made Richard uncomfortable. But as the pandemic restrictions came into play, it showed him a whole new way of the world. In an instant, Richard's 9-to-5 job was able to find a way for everyone to comfortably work from home. His family canceled all birthdays, and Amazon even made movies that were still in theaters available at home for the premium rental price of $25. On top of the upgrade to his usual issues, he also discovered the beauty of curbside pickups at restaurants and DoorDash. Finally, Richard's introverted dreams could become a reality. There was no person he had to deal with. It was just him, Rosie, and the beauty of a quiet home. The two did everything together. They binged Tiger King, attempted to cook new recipes, and even tried to start a new podcast, like everyone else was doing at this time.
Hey, welcome to the first episode of Dick and Dog. I'm Dick, and this is my dog Rosie.
There wasn't anything that Richard did where his sweet pit bull didn't join. They were an inseparable pair. But as time went on, Richard sensed a sadness in his pup. He would feel accomplished after finishing a Bob Ross painting video, or assembling a model ship in a bottle. But when he would look at Rosie, she just looked bored. That sad energy from his dog would lead to feelings of guilt. Although the stay-at-home orders gave Richard a new lease on life, he started to realize that maybe Rosie was having less of one. Day after day, Rosie would get up and emotionally support Richard on his journey to try every new hobby he could. Each new activity was very fulfilling for Richard. But for Rosie, she was just watching a man who refused to bathe make shitty art. This realization led Richard to turn over a new leaf. It wasn't just his pandemic. This was Rosie's too. From that moment on, Richard vowed to give her the second chance at life that he felt he had. The next time Richard put on a Bob Ross video, he would guide Rosie's paw with a paintbrush so she could feel the accomplishment of making her own happy trees. He would paint her nails while watching Homeward Bound, and he would even let her pick the meals they would make for the evening.
But we already had roadkill twice this week.
In no time, Richard started to feel better. There was an excitement in Rosie that he hadn't seen since the days when he used to take her to the dog park. She truly was learning new skills in life that made her feel more a part of Richard's world. After a long day of teaching Rosie how to balance a checkbook, Richard got him and his dog into their matching PJs and got into bed. Petting the top of her head, he whispered to Rosie, "Get some good sleep, Miss Rosie. Tomorrow, I'm going to teach you how to drive." Rosie's eyes widened, as even she thought this was a bad idea. The next day, Richard made Rosie a plate of bacon and eggs. "Eat up, girl," Richard said. "This is good brain food. You've got a lot of traffic signs to learn." Rosie paid no mind to what Richard was saying, as she was just happy to eat bacon. Once the two were done with breakfast, Richard grabbed his keys, took a swig of whiskey, and gave Rosie one last pep talk. "You are a natural driver, Rosie. Take my drinking as a vote of confidence. You won't even need much help from me." The two made their way out to Richard's white 1996 Buick Park Avenue. Before starting the car, Richard went through the mental checklist with Rosie. He showed her the importance of checking your mirrors, where the blinker is, and how the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration now says you should hold the steering wheel at the 9 and 3 o'clock positions, as opposed to the 10 and 2, which was once considered the standard. While the first lesson was underway, Rosie just thought about having more bacon. Richard started up his old car and called Rosie up to his lap. "Come on, girl. I know you're going to do great," he said to his dog. "I'll be here if you need me, and I'll reach the pedals for you. Just keep your eyes on the road." He then put the car in gear, and they were off. The ride began slowly as Richard eased up to speed. To his surprise, he was right. Rosie really was a natural. He felt so good about the way things were looking that he decided to have her drive towards Seattle and give her city driving a try. Seattle streets during the pandemic were a perfect place for a first-time driver to get comfortable behind the wheel. With most people at home, there would be no traffic congestions to navigate through, and less pushy drivers to make Rosie nervous. The two clumsily made their way down the Seattle streets, erratically shifting from one lane to another. This may not have been the most comfortable ride for Richard, but he's not an idiot. He knew not to expect perfection from a driving dog. Rounding one corner, Rosie took her turn a little too loose, causing the white Buick to sideswipe a parked car. "Oh, be careful, Miss Rosie," Richard said as he scratched his dog's back, reassuring her that she shouldn't give up just because she made one little mistake. The drive went on. Other drivers would honk at the turbulent Buick, and joggers on the street would quickly jump out of the way, thinking the car could hit them. Each one looked back in confusion, unsure if their eyes were playing tricks on them, or if they truly almost got hit by a driving dog. A while later, Rosie got distracted by a couple of squirrels arguing over a nut on the sidewalk. Her eyes wandered away from the road as she wondered how tasty the two bickering squirrels would be. With their eyes clearly aimed away from the road, the Buick strayed off of its lane, rubbing against another parked car. "God damn it, Rosie! I told you to keep your eyes on the road!" Richard exclaimed. "There will be no treats for you for that one." Rosie then slapped herself in the face and recommitted her focus to the road. But no matter how much better Rosie got at focusing on the road, there had already been 911 calls placed for her unreliable driving. As the two were heading down the highway to return home, a police officer spotted the vehicle that everyone was talking about. Immediately after seeing them, the cop flipped on their lights and siren. "Rosie, what did you do?" Richard yelled at his dog. "Well, this is as good a time as any to teach you the art of torching major ass." Richard then punched the gas, causing his car to unrealistically peel out while already in the act of moving, making for a very satisfying sound effect. The police officer called for backup as more police vehicles joined the high-speed chase. In March of 2020, multiple 911 calls were made about a white Buick Park Avenue driving erratically, including 2 instances of hitting parked cars in the greater Seattle area. The car was eventually spotted 40 miles away going north on Interstate 5. A chase ensued, reaching speeds of 109 miles per hour. It was during the chase that one of the state troopers attempted to corner the car, noticing a pit bull was in the driver's seat while the man drove. Eventually, a spike strip was deployed, causing the driver to pull off and crash onto Centennial walking and biking trail. Neither the man or his dog were injured. When police questioned the unnamed 51-year-old man, he gave one reason for his reckless driving. He was teaching his dog how to drive. The Washington State Highway Patrol charged the man with reckless endangerment, hit and run, driving under the influence, and felony eluding. His bond was set at $8,500. I guess for some, fur baby love knows no bounds. And really, 2020 was a weird time for everyone. I'm not surprised to see that a man tried to teach his dog how to drive during this time. But I hope he knows now that was a poor decision. For all of you pet lovers out there, take notes and learn from this unnamed Lakewood man. Sometimes your love for your pet can be criminal, and to be honest, really weird. But even after laying all of the details of this crime out for you all, I would rather you teach your dog how to drive than share an ice cream cone with them.
Your poor friend.
I already told him, I said, I'm going to dox you and I'm going to let everyone know that you're nasty.
So we just have a couple of delinquent drivers up in here today.
Yeah, definitely delinquent drivers.
Oh my God. I'm replaying everything in my mind. I think it was really funny. I was just getting a visual in my mind, and I'm sure obviously this part was made up when he's watching Homeward Bound and painting his dog's toenails.
Mm-hmm.
I love that so much. I painted one of my dog's toenails when she was young, Fudge.
Oh.
It was really cute. I made him hot pink one time. It was so cool.
That would look good on her with her black fur.
Yeah, it looked so good. But so that's that. He just was wanting to teach his dog how to drive.
That's what he said. Of course, I'm taking that and running with it, making the whole backstory.
Uh-huh.
He was unnamed. He was 51 years old. He lived like 40 miles out of Seattle, but all the traffic offenses happened in Seattle, so I guess they just drove way out there.
Wow.
Apparently, he did get driving under the influence. That's why I add that whiskey part to it, because
Right.
I'm guessing what probably happened was he was just a drunk driver who had his dog riding with him.
Yeah.
But still, he told the police he was teaching his dog how to drive. And
Yeah.
the cops even said that the dog was in the driver's seat with him when he was driving. But Mabel's always in the front seat with me when I'm driving too, because she only feels safe in a car if she's with the driver, which is weird because she has no control. But hey,
That's exactly how my dogs are in the car. They want to be in the driver's lap, but my dogs are like 3 times the size of yours.
yeah, that would be dangerous.
But Jordan always lets Reptar sit on his lap when he drives.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just like, Jordan! That is not a small dog. He's like 60 something pounds, but
Yeah, I just tuck Mabel under one of my arms and I just drive one-handed usually.
oh my God.
So, yeah, he got arrested for that. He hit 2 parked cars. They didn't say how long the chase lasted, but they said that it was up to 109 miles per hour going down a highway.
That's crazy.
They tried to corner him a couple times, didn't work. Spike stripped him. And then that's when he tried to pull off. What he pulled off onto was a walking and biking trail. And they were like, during the pandemic, this thing is crowded with people. So
Right.
they did really lucky that this guy drove on it and didn't hit a person.
Oh my God. So did they take his dog away? Did you find anything about that?
In the articles, they said that they put her in a shelter to hold until he got out of jail.
Okay.
And they said that the dog was a very sweet girl.
Oh, poor baby. Can you imagine that dog's fear?
I can't imagine. Mabel gets triggered real bad in the car. So
I
when things kind of go
know.
wrong. So I would think that wrecking a car with a dog in it would mess it up with them. I've never been in a car with a dog in it, but
Yeah. There was one time when Reptar was a little pup and it was really icy and we like spun a few times on the road. And luckily it was like a very, very not busy side street. So no one was around and we were totally fine. But even then, he was terrified. That's I don't like it.
yeah, even people.
Yeah.
You get in a car wreck, you kind of get the jitters for a bit, getting back
Yeah.
into it. So I would think a dog would be like, oh, hell no, I'm not getting
Oh
in there.
my God. Duh.
But there was plenty of highway cams of him running from the cops, but none of them you could
Wow.
see the dog very well because he was going so fast.
I was going to say, if they got a Snapchat like of the dog in the driver's side window.
No, they didn't even have a picture of the dog. The only thing I could
Yeah.
find a picture of was the tow truck pulling the car off of the
walking trail.
walking trail.
Okay. So you don't know if it was a pit bull or anything, or
I
you
do know for sure it was a pit
okay.
bull. Didn't give her name, didn't give the guy's name, and they
Okay.
said it was a girl.
Okay. Okay. Well, you know what? I like the name Rosie. I think that's really cute.
Rosie was one of my favorite dogs growing up.
Oh.
I used that.
I love it. Gosh, I get it. Like you said at the beginning of your story, I'm very obsessed with my animals. I like to take them places when I can, but to be in a state of mind where you think any of this behavior is okay, he was clearly on a level. And you had another really weird charge too. Like the very last one you said, I can't remember what it was, but I was like, I don't think I've ever heard of that charge. And I had the really weird one as well this week.
He had reckless endangerment, hit and run, driving under the influence, and felony eluding.
Yeah, what's felony eluding?
Like running from the cops.
Oh, have you said that before?
I think we've had a felony
Okay,
eluding
okay.
before. Or
Probably.
at least just eluding without felony. Probably state-based.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. I'm thinking of the one where your lady shoplifted and then was losing underwear as she was running. I think she got stories like that. I'm sure got it. Well, definitely the connections, like I said, there's delinquent drivers.
And in creative ways too. Like sometimes something funny kind of happens, like the emu story I did was still all just around being a drunk driver and wrecking your car.
Yeah.
But at least both of these are very weird.
They're very, very weird. Yeah, like what are people doing out there?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes the funny thing about the crime is what happens after the crime, and sometimes the crime itself's the funny thing. And both of ours, it's the crime itself.
Yeah, both of them. It's just like, really? Somebody did that? And it's like, yes, they did. They both really, really, really did. So what a week. Hopefully when we come back, we will be nice and rested. I won't have a scratchy voice. But until then, I hope everyone has an amazing week. And just remember, no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, we're all doomed.
Doomed to drive appropriately. Don't be a delinquent driver.
Bye.
See ya.
Raise your hand if you think Abraham Lincoln is sexy. And then high five us virtually for listening to our show.
And if you do weird things with your pet, take a picture, send it to us, and let us share it on our social medias. Find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Live, Laugh, Larceny.
And if you are a crafty criminal, send us your petty crime story. livelaughlarceny@gmail.com.
And give our podcast a review the opposite of how Amanda would review her terrible, terrible day. Give us 5 stars on Apple, Spotify, or Good Pods.
You can crap up. You can crap.
You can crapped up.
You can,
I heard crapped up. Really crapped that one up.
oh my God. I was so serious sounding too.